Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Minnesota State Park Hiking Club Trail Series. Today we traveled to Carlton, Minnesota to take the hiking club trail at Cooke State Park. Initially established with only 2,350 acres in 1915, when the St. Louis River Power Company donated the land, Cooke has been growing ever since. The state has purchased significantly more land, bringing the park's total up to 8,125 acres. The swinging bridge and much of the rustic infrastructure was constructed by the CCC, which during the 30s had two separate work camps that were established and worked on the park. The park is named after a businessman from the Civil War era, Cooke, who invested heavily in this area during that time. There are 46 animal species, 173 bird species within the park, and 16 species of reptiles and amphibians, and none of them are poisonous, which the DNR website is keen to point out. The white-tailed deer, black bear, coyote, and timber wolves are the most prominent of the animals you may see in the park. Indeed, during our visit, a small black bear was spotted within the park area by the swinging bridge. Although not by us, we overheard some other visitors discussing it with the park ranger. The exposed bedrock just upstream from the swinging bridge is an incredible sight, as the St. Louis River flows determined on its way to Lake Superior, cascading over the exposed bedrock. The water is similar to a lot of the rivers on the North Shore that feed into Lake Superior, in that it is root beer colored. This is due to the tannins and other natural decaying matter and minerals found throughout its course that give the water its color. The water flow is really beautiful, and there are several points that you can observe it from, with trails around all sides. The swinging bridge in a lower section that puts you at the water level to look upstream. As it is the gateway state park to the North Shore, and only a short distance from Duluth, and only really a 2-hour trip from Minneapolis in decent traffic, it should come as no surprise that Cooke is one of the 10 most popular parks within the Minnesota State Park system. Its most cited visitor count was 378,000 visitors in 2014. It failed to crack the top 5 in 2021, however, several North Shore parks did make it, and likely it wasn't far behind Gooseberry Falls, coming in at number 1 at just under 800,000 visitors, with Tetigoosh and Split Rock coming in 4th and 5th, respectively, with just over and just under 550,000 visitors. The hiking club trail starts right from the other side of the swinging bridge from the parking lot. It counts for 3.5 miles of the State Park Hiking Club. It will be mostly within the woods, with the periodic patches of sun, but it's mostly, as I said, in the woods. I'd ensure you pack the bug spray for this one, especially if it's been wet, as it can lead to some thick clouds of bugs, mosquitoes specifically, and if you don't keep a good pace, it could be unpleasant. Since the majority of the trail is in the woods, I recommend either at the beginning or the end of the trail, you take the time to explore around the rapids area by the swinging bridge. Once you are finished with that and cross the bridge, head straight on the path indicated by the hiking club sign. The trail then abruptly turns towards the river once you reach the top of the hill and starts the hike above the river trail. You will be able to hear the river for a good third of the trail, but there is usually a thick underbrush or a section of woods between the trail and the river. That is not to say there aren't periodic overlooks or points at which you can sit and view the river, but they are few and far between. The trail, despite the popularity of the park, wasn't very busy when I took the hike, which made for a peaceful backwoods stroll. There were sections that were muddy, so be careful if it's rained recently, as it could make the trail harder to traverse. I didn't see any wildlife while out on the trail, but there were significant evidence of it all around, such as footprints, droppings, and in one section I saw a considerable amount of porcupine quills littered across the trail. The trail does pass by one pond that might be a good area to spot some wildlife from a safe distance, as I wouldn't want to see any wolves or bears directly on the trail. It's only slightly obscured by underbrush and provides a decent view. My favorite part of this trail is the swinging bridge that you cross at the start. Its construction makes it look extremely rustic, but while still looking sturdy and secure, it lofts you over the St. Louis River directly downstream from the rapids and allows you to get a solid view of both sections of the rapids, both the one straight on and the waterfall and gorge to the left. I'm a huge fan of water features on any trail, and I'm also quite a fan of rocks. After all, I'm from the granite town in the granite state. This section really capitalized on all of that, with the water cascading, crashing over fantastically eroded chasms that run along either side of this section of the river. It was the first area visited on my trip to the North Shore, and it was so magnificent. I thought, this is amazing. The rest of the is the rest of the North Shore this good? Spoiler alert, it was. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this addition to the series, let us know. Also, let us know which one you'd like to see next.